I have the agenda in front of me.
I believe it's the executive session.
I agree with that. I was actually going to request the same thing.
Okay. Okay. Okay, with that being said, that motion is moved. And we will adopt, I have a second? Okay. Motion approved.
Aye.
Okay. And it's passed. Second item up is approval of the minutes for December 3rd, 2025. Do I have any objection?
So moved. Second.
Okay. On to item 2A, action items A, 2A, 2023-2028 capital program phase 5 sales tax capital maintenance budget reallocations. Do we have a debate?
Ms. Bailey, I was just going, since we moved to move item 4 to be next.
Oh,
Is that
okay.
all right?
I told Main Street Schools that they could come from 9:45 based on the agenda, so they'll take it into consideration.
If there's no objection,
Okay.
Meeting Street Schools is not here yet. They're supposed to be here by 9:45.
Okay.
Can we go on to this item?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah,
Okay.
Thank you.
understood.
I gave them that information based on the cadence of the agenda, so they weren't sitting in the audience waiting, so.
Okay, again, action item 2A, 2023-2028 capital program phase 5 sales tax capital maintenance budget reallocation. Do we have someone?
Mr. Hamer's on the line. Mr. Hamer's on the line.
Steve Hamer, Ms. Bailey, Steve Hamer.
Mr. Hamer, go ahead, please.
Go ahead.
Morning to everybody and to the committee. This is the reallocation of.
Mr. Hamer, give us just a minute. We're having some trouble hearing you. I'm sorry, sir. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year.
Yes, sir. Hold on just a minute. Mr. Preston, can you all adjust? We're having a little bit of technical difficulties this morning. The New Year's not quite ready for us all here with financial services all in the house.
Try again, Steve.
Okay, testing. Can you hear me now?
There we go, loud and clear.
It's better, Mr. Hamer.
All right, got me. Lima, Charlie. Okay, good morning again. Happy New Year to everybody. Good morning to the members of the board and Madam Chair. This first item is a reallocation of our phase 5 sales tax program. As you see in the agenda item and also the board resolution, we've identified some savings and some projects that we've done. We've also identified some savings and some projects that we've deemed for stormwater repairs that aren't necessary anymore. Our technicians have reviewed those projects and we believe that those can be zeroed out. So using those savings, we have identified some additional projects that we want to use with the reallocations. One of them being new cabinetry in the front office at St. Clyde Elementary School. One of them is a significant project to do repairs to the School of the Arts elevator. The third project is to upgrade lighting at North Charleston High School. And the fourth project is a pond repair and stormwater repairs to the campus at Charles Pickney Elementary School. So again, those are projects that we recommend that reallocations, both from savings and from a determination of some existing projects not being necessary anymore, reallocating those savings to accomplish those 4 projects. Pending your questions, that's the overview of this reallocation request.
Do I have any questions? Any online? Okay, with that being said, the motion set before us is to approve the reallocation of funds as shown on the attached resolution.
So move.
Second?
Second.
Okay. With that being said, the motion passes. On to item 2B, fixed cost of ownership for FY 26 budget reallocations.
Okay, good morning again. I'll take the overview of this. This again is a reallocation, but rather from our sales tax program it's a reallocation from our 26 fixed cost of ownership program. There are a couple of key projects that we're going to have savings on in this fiscal year. One is the AC Cochran vestibule project that we're going to have to delay and execute in FY27. So that needs to be identified and approved by this committee and the board. Also, we have a project that FM was overseeing that involved CTE funds, CTE FCO funds. We're going to have to execute that project in phases, meaning that the second phase won't be able to be executed in this year's 26 FCO allocation. So we will use as much of that original allocation as possible and use those savings towards other projects. And per the business rules of this committee and the board, we have to identify anything that wasn't in the original approved project list that these reallocations are going towards. So that summarizes this agenda item, and you have the resolution of where the savings will be going for the new projects for FY26 FCO. Standing by for your questions.
All right, thank you, sir. Do I have any questions? Okay, with that being said, we're going to go back to item 2A, and we're going to vote on that. If you're present, you can vote verbally.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
3. Online?
Aye.
4. Is it?
Meredith? I think you're fine.
Okay, then that motion passes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now we're going to go back to item 2B. And the motion is to approve the fixed cost ownership budget reallocations. Second, okay. Cast your votes.
Aye.
Okay, and the motion passes. On to item, let's see. Y'all excuse me. I'm trying to get through my notes and go down this thing. We're on to item 3, information items, monthly capital projects report, November 2025. Is it going to be Ms. Costello?
Yep, Ms. Costello, come to the podium and present the monthly capital projects report.
Good morning. Chair, Ms. Bailey, Vice Chair, Ms. Watley, Superintendent Huggins, and committee members, Happy New Year to everyone. I'd like to present the November capital projects report. Our recent collections for the 2023 through 2028 sales tax capital program were $425,000 above our 2% cash flow projection. The expenditures for the programs are as follows. The 2010 through 2016, $2,000. The 2017 through 2022 capital building program, $2.9 million. The 2023 through 2028 capital building program, $11.9 million. The 2023 through 2028 capital building program funded with long-term debt was $3.5 million. Our fixed cost of ownership fiscal year 25 program is in its final stages of completion. Our fixed cost of ownership fiscal year 26 program commenced in March and will run through June of 2026. And in February, we'll be bringing the project and program list to you for the fixed cost of ownership fiscal year 27. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Hey, do I have any questions? Online? Are there any questions? Okay.
No questions.
Moving on then, if there's no questions, to monthly Financial report, November 2025. That's item 3B. Mr. Prentice?
Yes, ma'am. So several attachments here. The first is the general operating fund monthly report for the month ended November 30th. We have not really any tremendous updates this month as we're still seeing property tax revenues trickle in November. But since this report, we've seen property tax revenues begin to come in strong and are lining with our projections for the budget for FY26. So no concerns to point out here. Everything's tracking as expected. And we are working on updating our forecast and our long-range analysis, and we'll begin to present some of that information to the committee at the February meeting as we get into budget discussions for FY27. So a lot more information to come with the 6-month report in February, as well as the long-range projection update. So look forward to sharing that with you. WSF report, got that included here. I appreciate staff taking some time going through the holidays with doing some cleanup as schools amended their strategies. We had what's called an amendment window in November where people could go through and make adjustments if they had a position that had since been vacated that they wanted to transfer and convert to something else, or additional funds that were available based on something that had been completed where they had savings. They were able to reallocate those funds for other strategies approved in the WSF guardrails. And so staff went through and did a lot of cleanup to move funds into proper accounts and make adjustments to collapse things that were no longer needed and add things that had been approved in new strategies to reflect on this report. So you'll see a lot of those variances that we discussed last month have been cleaned up, and we are tracking into the second half of the year here. We also have the Head Start report. Nothing really of note to share there, but I will say with respect to Head Start in general, we are still awaiting the application to be launched by HHS with federal government for us to be able to apply for the next 5-year cycle. So we have not submitted the approved application that the committee approved before the holidays based on the fact that it has not been released. So we'll keep you posted on that as we move forward with that submission for the new grant cycle that begins next fiscal year. So happy to answer any questions.
Okay, is there any questions? Online?
None.
No, ma'am, thank you.
Okay, with that being said, we're going to move on to item 3C, internal audit behavioral support services.
Yes, ma'am. We have a representative from Plant Moran here. This is our Behavior Support Services Internal Audit, otherwise known to CCSD as the Student Support Services Department. So that internal audit will be presented. And then we also have the updated matrix of outstanding finding resolutions from all prior internal audits completed to date. So turn it over to Plant Moran.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Thank you for allowing me to present the results of the Behavior Support Services Internal Audit. Could we go to slide 3, please? I can just start running through an overview of the audit. So the audit addressed 4 key areas of behavior support services. First being referral intake, so how student behavior support referrals are submitted to the team and how the team reviews those and determines what services to provide. Service delivery documentation, so how interventions and supports provided to students are recorded. Student progress monitoring, how the team tracks student progress toward behavioral goals over time, and then also data-driven decision making. So looking at trends in behaviors and outcomes and how those are used to inform decisions and improve support strategies across the district. We had a couple of areas of recognition to note here where the team had good practices in place. So the first being around collaboration to review student data with other district departments, identify those trends and outcomes, and develop targeted supports for students, targeted supports for schools, and then also training for personnel. Then second being their referral intake process. They have a structured process in place, and it involves collaboration from the entire behavior team. We had 2 findings and 1 opportunity for improvement, all being really around documentation. Our scope for this audit covered the 24-25 school year. Our objective was to assess the internal controls and practices in these areas in scope, identify any inconsistencies, and recommend improvements to mitigate risk to the district. We performed interviews with behavior support services staff, reviewed documentation like any procedural documents they had, case files, logs, and tested a sample of student cases to see if processes were followed as intended. Okay, and moving to our first finding, we had found that the team was not using a single system of record for maintaining case documentation, which in a few of the files that we had selected for testing did lead to some incomplete records in terms of the steps that the team took. So since there was not really a standard process for retaining that documentation in a single system, and because multiple systems were being used, just a complete log of all the steps that were taken were not retained. And as this came up during our field work, the behavior support services team proactively worked to develop a case checklist to document what should be retained in each student's case file. And we recommend building upon this checklist to kind of move towards using a single system of record through something like SharePoint or Google Drive, creating a standard folder structure for the case files, and also documenting where each student's record is retained, if retained in other systems throughout the district, just to ensure consistency and be able to have that audit trail of everything that was performed for that student. And then also, we recommend providing training around the new process. Next finding, the second one deals with parental consent for services. So the behavior support services team must obtain parental consent before providing behavior support services to a student. And they do this either through a separate permission form or documented through prior written notice as part of the IEP meeting. In our review, we found that evidence of parental consent couldn't be provided for a couple of samples, primarily just due to transitions between systems that the district was using during this period. So does not mean that they necessarily failed to get consent, but rather just the evidence was not available to be provided as part of this audit. So building off the prior recommendation, using the case folder checklist can help the team confirm that parental permission was obtained, and also kind of documenting that they made sure it was retained and also documenting where it was retained. Then lastly, one opportunity for improvement, more so a best practice for the team. So we had observed that the team had some documentation of their processes, kind of outlining responsibilities for the specialists and examples of forms they could use as part of that process. But the written procedures didn't really provide step-by-step how-to guidance or kind of clarify expectations in terms of the minimum requirements and documentation standards as well while conducting each of those activities. So just to promote consistency as a best practice and the documentation quality, we recommend updating the SOPs to make them more detailed, serve as a clear reference, just to document those procedural steps more and the minimum requirements. Okay, that does it for the results of the internal audit. As an update on other audit activities, the federal programs internal audit is underway currently, and we are also expecting to start the procurement internal audit later this month. Any questions?
Thank you, Mel. We open up the floor for any questions.
We certainly appreciate Plant Moran and their work with us on this. There were some significant findings in this report. And this office reports through the CAO, Michelle Simmons, up to Dr. Clamp. Dr. Clamp's already met with the team to address some of those findings. Dr. Clamp, do you want to overview some of the corrective measures we're taking to address the things in the audit?
Yeah, sure. And I want to celebrate Miss Allison. She's here today and her team. So the immediate next steps, obviously, on the operating procedures and the documentation that was relevant as those systems transitioned, that the documentation could be improved. So they've already begun. They started responding to this almost immediately. So improving those steps of documentation, improving those abilities to have all that information in one system, it's already underway.
Thank you.
Any questions?
So, just to get a little further understanding, so how was this being, like it was different systems and that's why, or you're transitioning to different systems, or we're just trying to get how it was going?
Yeah, sure.
What the recommendations are, and I agree with them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Lisa, would you like to respond to that?
Regarding the system. So thank you very much. I would just like to say I appreciated the opportunity for this deep dive into our practices. We are very much about continuous improvement and being responsive so that we are making sure not only we're serving students well, but that our process is clearly defined and we have a good system of documentation for our practices. So regarding the systems, I'll just get a little technical here. Enrich RTI was our system that we were documenting everything, and parent permission is always obtained. And we had everything, and we discontinued the use of this system this year. And we did pay for a data download from Enrich RTI so that we could have all the files, and we do indeed have them. But at the time of the audit, that vendor had not finished their data extract for us, their export, so we couldn't physically get to it. We do have it now. So if we were to redo that, we would be able to show that evidence. Okay, does that help a little bit? Okay. Thank you.
Thanks for all your.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Worcester. Any other questions? Online? Ms. Watley, do you guys have any questions?
I think I'm okay. I was a little bit curious as to what sparked the audit.
So this is part of the board approved internal audit plan, and I'm glad you mentioned that because I did want to close this item out by sharing where we're going from here. So when the board approved back in May of 2024, the internal audit plan, it included all of these various areas based on the risk assessment that was done and the risk assessment score for each of these areas. And so we're working our way through, as Brianna mentioned, the last few for FY26 now. And in May of this year, we'll bring the internal audit plan back to the committee to look at where we're going for FY27 and FY28 to begin to recycle back through some of these areas. And again, that focus on continuous improvement and going through some of them more frequently based on the risk assessment score and the schedule that's outlined in the plan.
So, Mr. Prentice, you said we're going to have an update on this in May, correct?
So the plan itself will do an update in May. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or concerns?
I think that covers the only thing. And by the way, everybody, I apologize for not being there in person. I have taken the liberty, since we've gotten accredited under Cognia, to come out to Las Vegas for one of their trainings, especially since it's so heavily leaning towards AI. so that I can learn as much as possible about AI as we are beginning to enter into crafting policies for the district for its use.
Thank you, Ms. Watley. No other questions or concerns. We're going to move on to item 3D, purchases and contracts greater than 250,000. Mr. Prentice?
Yes, ma'am. So we have this on the financial transparency dashboard. It's been updated through the end of the year. So let's go back to the proper screen here. As I've mentioned in prior months, we start to see this kind of taper towards the end of the year. We had a total amount of $1.8 million through the month of December. So the majority of those were cooperative contracts, $1.3 million. There was one competitively bid for $300,000, and then the rest was state contract. So no particular notes to share there in terms of other details on the contracts, but they are available on the dashboard. The cooperative contract was one single contract, and the CCSD contract was just a change order for our transportation services for alternative transportation for school buses.
Okay, do we have any questions? Online, Ms. Watley and everyone? No questions, then we will move on to item 4. We're going to convene into executive session. Do I have a motion?
So move. Second.
A
Thank-
second.
Okay, we're moving into executive session.
Can somebody take me with them into executive session? Ms. Huggins?
they back in?
Will you bring those people back? They're back into the general session. They're on their way, Miss Bailey.
Okay.
Wonderful. Miss Watley, can you hear us?
Yes, ma'am, I'm back.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. We're going to reconvene back into open session. And I have a motion on the table. The motion is to refer Meeting Street Memorandum of Understanding to the Board of Trustees on January the 12th, 2026. Do I have?
So moved.
I'll make that motion.
Yes, ma'am.
For a second.
Go ahead.
So Ms. Watley made the she made the motion and then
Oh,
we need a
second.
second.
Okay. Okay, let's vote.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. And with that being said, the motion passes. On now to closing items. The next upcoming meeting will be February 4th, 2026. And do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Everybody say aye.
Second.
Amen.
Aye. You guys have a great day.
You have a blessed one too.
Thank you.